greatest show on earth.
Welcome back to the Con Culture Combo, guys. I am, as always, Big C Bauer.
Yeah, big
There's
time, baby.
Little T Hyde right on the other side of the screen. Little T Hyde. Pinky's up, Hyde. Pinky's up. How you doing, buddy? I saw you over the weekend at BillyCon. You came out to, well, at first you came out to hang out. Then it turned into helping me out.
Yes.
But we'll get to all that. This is our BillyCon 4 review, guys, as promised. It's funny, we talked about BillyCon not long ago, about going, literally 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And now I've been. And boy, was that a different experience than I could have even imagined.
It was great.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So what are your thoughts before we jump into it?
It was weird in a really great way, because seeing how many people actually finally come around and like give you the credit that you do. I mean, you get a couple, maybe one or two people show up, say something, you know. But well, I mean, yeah. Okay, guys, let me set the mood here. Let me set the setting for what happened.
So I text him.
He said, you know, I'm not going to get there till like 3 or 4 on Friday. I'm going to set up, go back to the hotel, chill. I said, okay, cool. So I got there at like 2:30.
Get dinner, and then go back to BillyCon.
Yep.
Because I could just slip in, set the table up, and slip right back out. Who's going to know?
Correct.
On any other day, in any other place.
So that's true. I walk in. I said, you know what? I'm just going to walk in and get some pizza and wait for him. I'm starving. I don't want to get other food. You keep talking up the pizza and the breadsticks. I'm going to go get them.
I do.
And I go get in, and I'm trying to find you. I message you. You don't reply back.
No.
And I was like, oh, okay. So I go and I walk over in this little room, and all these people are blocking the fucking entrance. I'm like, what is going on right now? And I look over, and it's you in there, and you have like 65 people in line to meet you. I'm not exaggerating, guys. This line went back probably a good halfway through the restaurant. So I passed the merch booth. If anybody's been there, like in that merch area, it was by the front door. I
actually felt really bad for the people that had to wait so long. I really think I had no idea that was going to happen. And you could kind of tell because they were like parents and they had the younger kids. So by the time they got into the room, it was like,
yes,
really.
But the one good thing I did notice is you gave everybody their time.
Well,
which is nice.
Because I mean, I had no choice. I was blown away. Like seriously. So Friday, as you were saying, I was just going to get there. I even told my daughter we were getting off the exit. And I was like, let's just stop by. I'll set the booth up. We'll go check in the motel. We'll grab some dinner, relax a little. Then we'll go back to Billy Bob's tonight and hang out just a little bit. Because, you know, Saturday and Sunday, those will be the days, right?
Yeah. I
literally pull up, get an armful of stuff, come strolling in, and just swarmed. Like right away. I knew something was different than my everyday life. It was completely different. And it took me about 4 or 5 loads to get everything out. But that process took 45 minutes because I would stop and take photos and sign autographs and then come out and get more stuff, come back in. Then I was trying to set up the table and stuff. And I got people, the line's already formed. Like they're just standing there waiting, like,
they're waiting patiently.
When's this going to start, guy? Yeah, like, let's do this. And I was like, I was throwing stuff out. And then finally I was just like, yeah, let's just start. And it just didn't stop. Like, till we closed at 7, it was just nonstop. That was nuts. And Saturday was just as intense. I never have experienced anything like that. Somehow it got in the way of me actually filming videos, which that has never happened. Especially at a place like Billy Bob's, where I've done so many videos at. I know exactly where to shoot from, and all I have to do is just go out there and do it. But I couldn't get out. Yeah. I could not get out from behind the table. It was crazy.
Nope.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah, I was just gonna hang out, and I turned into your bitch for the weekend. You know, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm your management. Your management.
Helper's a nicer term for it.
You did pay me like $20 for the weekend, so you know.
I gave you what you were worth.
Yeah, no,
That's
that's fair.
how you have to look at it.
Yeah, yeah, like 38 cents an hour, which is probably
Hmm.
what people started out when they started working at Billy Bob's. You know,
They could have,
or
and I don't.
25 an
Well,
hour. Yeah,
I feel like in the
back in the 70s,
1980s it might
80s,
have been a
crazy.
little bit more. But yeah, it was cool. It was really cool meeting all you guys. Came out, a lot of you guys freshly subscribed while you were there to this
Yes,
podcast, so we really appreciate
thank you
that.
for
We
that.
appreciate you guys watching.
Let's
Yes.
go. Thank you so much.
So yeah, it was but overall, like my overall takeaway, um you know getting to see all the fans interact and watch the rocket fire explosion. It's really cool to watch them treat the rocket fire explosion like you're going to see an actual concert, a live concert of your favorite band.
Oh, they
You
were
got this pit full of
cheering and
people jumping them down, dancing, phones out, filming them. It's so cool to see a piece of nostalgia from the '80s still get that kind of love from the fans. It's really neat, and I was right there with them. There was a couple different videos that I filmed that I'm editing right now. Hopefully, we'll get out soon. And it was a really cool experience getting to see that, getting to see all the collectibles people have brought in that they've been collecting. Just an amazing amount of stuff to see there at BillyCon. It was really neat.
What was your favorite part of the entire weekend
I mean,
besides seeing
honestly,
me?
besides seeing Tim, as I love to do, I would have to say probably meeting all the fans. I had no idea that it sounds pretentious. I had no idea how many people loved my videos enough to drive
Or
hours
fly?
and
Or
states
fly?
away or fly to come meet me over them. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things you get to in the rigmarole of just making videos, but you forget that they're actually giving people happiness on a regular weekly basis. And yeah, that was probably the best part of the weekend. I had a lot of fans like you guys made me some stuff, drawings, made me a bracelet, just all kinds of different things. Brought me just like trinkets and gifts. I had somebody brought me a Ronald McDonald birthday invite from the '80s. I thought that was awesome because I remember getting those
Yeah,
in the
okay.
mail.
You got invited to your first party, bro. It took
Look,
long enough, but you did it. I'm proud of you.
look.
Took
I
you to have a
used to
famous
be
vlog.
cool when I was a kid, and I got invited to parties, and I also had parties at McDonald's. Everybody had parties at McDonald's. That was like the thing to do. And yeah, they did send out invites, and I had forgotten that until I got given one this weekend, and it was awesome. It's a nice little trip down memory lane. But yeah,
It's good.
that would probably be my favorite part of the weekend. Was getting to meet everybody. Yeah, that was awesome. It was really, really cool. And then we debuted the art print. The art print went over great.
That shit was
Um,
fire.
yeah, it was really cool.
It was so
I
good.
wish I had an example within arm's reach to show you, but I do not. I don't know what happened to it.
I
Actually, I
think
do. My camera's sitting on my art case. Just one second. We're gonna debut it right here.
Oh God!
Oh
Whoa,
boy.
guys, we're getting caught
Oh
up in
boy.
the hyper zone of getting the stuff out here, guys. Welcome
Oh
to
boy.
the Twilight Zone.
Here it is.
It turned
So the
out
art
so
print.
good. And who did
Yeah,
it?
I mean, so Will Woods and Tyrene Carver, those are my two artists. Just knocked this thing out of the stratosphere. I mean, this is the metal version. So, I mean, this thing is just epic, is it not? Like, Bill and Beach's Excellent Adventure, of course, based on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And one of my favorite movies came out in 1989. So back in the early days, just in case you don't know, Showbiz Pizza and Chuck E. Cheese used to have faux movie posters that would star different animatronic members of the band. You had like Beverly Hills Bob would be the Beverly Hills Cop. Pizza Wars would be the Star Wars poster, that kind of thing. So it was done in that vein of trying to do another faux movie poster from the '80s, and of course wanted to tie in Billy Bob's to it. So instead of the phone booth from Bill and Ted's, you had the most wondrous place, Billy Bob's, and just like that phone booth is a time machine to the '80s. Billy Bob's is too. So it just kind of worked, and everybody really loved it. It came out great, and so we sold a lot of those, signed a lot of those.
You
So
did.
yeah, man, it was really really cool. I'm very much looking forward to next year for sure, 100%.
Yeah, I think it's something, whether it's there or somewhere else, that's going to be something that's just going to be something special for a long time.
Yeah.
You
Now, this
know,
was your first time getting to see the Rocket Fire Explosion perform.
it
What were
was.
your thoughts? What'd you think of the old bots?
It definitely brought down memory lane, and seeing all the kids go freaking bananas over it was really
Yeah.
awesome. You know, I was
Yeah.
waiting for my pizza, which was phenomenal, by the way. You're right. So good.
Yes.
So filling.
The
Oh my
cheese
God.
bread
That's
is,
the
oh my
cheese
God,
bread.
yeah. It's
Well, the
thick.
cheese bread, Billy Bob, y'all got to calm down with the size of this cheese bread though. Cause you look at me, I know I'm fat, but like you walk up to me and he was like, I got a small pizza and that. And he's like, okay, no problem. And I'm like, is that enough? She's like, yeah, okay, sure, maybe. And I'm like, dude, that thing is 18
Yeah.
inches. I mean, it's massive.
It's the
It's
cheese
so
bread is
good
an
though.
entire large pizza.
Literally.
It's probably part of
So
what I
good.
love about it.
Yeah. Yeah. You could throw those things back. I couldn't. I didn't go. I went through
Oh,
about
baby.
half the pizza and
Yeah.
maybe a quarter of the breadsticks, and I was stuffed, man. I was in a
Yeah.
coma. I
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. But yeah,
Uh,
it's such a cool place, man. I love that
it's
place.
definitely something that you wish experienced more often in the United States and really around the
Yeah.
world, of just
Yeah.
not just throwing these things by the wayside. And I think that's
Yeah.
partially on the owners of these establishments to just
Sure.
not take the easy way out and go to the easy fix, because
Yeah.
like we consistently always talk about, nostalgia is underrated. It will
It
always
is.
exist. And this is proof of
Mm-hmm.
it. If you do it correctly,
Yeah.
if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
And that model
100%.
works for this, but like it's off the beaten path. Like it took me, if I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have Google Maps, I never would have found that place.
Right. That's what's great about it. That was also, I'd say that's my second favorite thing of the weekend. How many people were in line to come see me when they came up and they're like, we would never have known about this place if it wasn't for one of your videos.
Yep.
That was my favorite thing to hear, because I love spreading the word about Billy Bob's, and I love that Billy Bob's gets to benefit from that business of new people that otherwise would have no clue that place existed. And I didn't know that place existed till 4 years ago. No clue. And it's been there for over 40 years. It's never closed. It's been right there. And, and I had passed it dozens of times in my travels. It's right off the exit. I've gone down that highway a million times and just gone right on by. I had no clue what was inside those doors. So it's really neat to be able to do a video that people find out about something that unlocks their core memories from childhood, and that they can go participate in as well.
And the one really great thing is there's so many where the parents were just as stoked as the kids.
Totally.
And that does not happen. Even at Comic Cons, we don't see that happen as much as it should.
Agreed.
But you're passing down a 1970s, 80s, 90s thing, in which these parents never would have thought, like, because when they were a kid, their kid is 11 years old. When they were 11, 30 years ago, they were experiencing animatronics at types of things like that. And, like a Billy Bob's all around the United States. Mm-hmm. And
they were everywhere.
Now all of a sudden, they're gone almost entirely. And they see their kid because of things like your vlogs, things like Five Nights at Freddy's, all these other animatronic stuff. These kids are into it hardcore, and they're like, I used to be able to do the same thing. I collected the same toys 38 years ago. And there's something special that I think in today's day and age, it's really hard to bond with a lot of your parents in things, because there is such a divide between a 11-year-old and a 41-year-old in today's day and age.
Sure.
That having that bond is special. And I think a lot of these parents are going to remember this more than they ever imagine. They're going to look back and go, man, I wish we could go to 3 or 4 more Billy Cons,
Very likely. It's one of those things that brings families together. I've met multiple families this weekend, even with children in their late teens and early 20s, that are both into it, not only because the parents remember going to these places or working at these places when they were growing up, but
Yes.
now their kid has grown up with Five Nights at Freddy's, and now they're super into the animatronics of old.
Yeah.
And then it also proves also that Chuck E. Cheese changed its policy from the last 5 years of getting rid of every animatronic, and they have now listened to the fans and listened to that nostalgia wave, and they have now saved 5 legacy stores. So now there's 5 stores instead of all gone. You'll now get 5 stores nationwide that have all their animatronics and have old art and old artifacts from their old collectibles in them. So they are also responding to that feeling, and that feeling's coming from 12-year-olds and 8-year-olds and kids that really shouldn't know what nostalgia is yet.
Yeah.
But it's built into the entire hobby.
Yeah.
It's really neat.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But BillyCon overall, I couldn't say enough great things about it. It was a great experience. Looking forward to going back next year. They're going to be doing a lot of improvements.
Is there anything you would change? Because I'm sure, obviously, you and I doing a lot of cons, which this was a wannabe attempt at a convention from somebody who clearly has never run a convention.
100%.
Right. Not in necessarily a bad way. If you don't know, you can't do different.
Exactly.
But
I would say though,
recommendations or how did that work? Because there were some definitely changes I would have worked.
Oh yeah. First of all, a schedule, an actual schedule. Like for example, first night was Calendar Night, was what it was called, and that's what they touted. Calendar Night is a throwback to a Showbiz Pizza event from the 1980s. Well, nobody really knew what time it was going to start, and it ended up being over by 4. So it ended up being calendar afternoon, and there was people that showed up after work on Friday, and it was all over, and they only did it once.
Should have started at 6.
100%. They should have, and the time should have been listed. That should have been the start time. Everybody should have known, and that was the only real scheduled event for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
They did lots of really cool things, but none of it was scheduled. It was kind of off the cuff. So if I were suggesting anything, it would be to make a schedule. It doesn't have to be a ton of stuff. Just make a schedule that has times on it that you stick to, that people can plan on being there for.
Yeah.
There was people traveling from a long way away, and they missed Calendar Night because of it. You know what I mean? Being calendar afternoon. So I think that's the one thing I would change right away going forward. I know Billy Bob's itself is making some changes. They're going to be adding a vintage arcade where the laser tag is. So by next year, they'll have an old room where you'll walk in. It'll be like a 1980s arcade, which is a perfect pairing with the Rockfire Explosion. It just is. I mean, that's a great thing to do. And they're supposed to be adding go-karts in the next few months too. So they're going to be adding a few extra things before next year. I'm definitely hopeful for that. But yeah, scheduling. If I had to add anything, it would be add a schedule.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, I guess for me being a promoter and knowing the outsides of business, insides of business, of that world, I think they could have done panels. They could have done a lot of filler content that those kids would have ate up. I mean, especially doing fan run panels. Like,
yes,
and it should have been a calendar night competition where there was prizes and booty,
agreed.
but like officially done, like not just thrown together, but like officially. And it's not hard. Hell, get a sponsor for it from someone else if you wanted to get even a little concept, and then adding vendors. The fact that there was literally you and one other person in the entire thing.
Yeah, one vendor, one guest. Yeah.
But there's so many areas that I think you could jam tables in and get people.
Well, they had 3 party rooms, and if you were going to keep doing the party room thing, we had 1 party room. So if you have 2 other party rooms, that's 4 more vendors if you wanted to, really. I don't know how many that they'd put out there for it, but I guarantee you there would have been a couple more vendors that would have loved to have set up there.
Yeah. See, I mean, for me, I think the party room thing is nah.
I agree. I didn't like it because
it's very enclosed.
But there's also not a ton of other space there.
They could have put it right on the wall or outside if they wanted to, because you didn't have to have it be like, like to me, I think the party rooms would be really cool for panel rooms.
They would be.
Small
Yeah.
little workshops and fun creates, the
Sure.
arts and crafts thing, a best art,
Yeah.
a best rocket fire
I agree.
explosion poster, and you give everybody coloring stuff, and they make it on site, and you can do
100%.
a drink and draw, but not necessarily like alcohol, but
Right.
drink
Right.
draw where they have this stuff, or pizza and draw, and they give
Sure.
them like silly things where they're like, all right, now draw, you know,
Oh, there could
uh,
have been a ton of programming like that. Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely could have been,
and those
honestly.
kids would eat that stuff up.
Yeah, and not just the young kids either. I mean, there was a lot of late teens, early 20 somethings that would have loved programming like that. Because there was a lot in between shows. There was a lot of just sitting around time, which
Yeah.
is fine for socializing. That's a big part of cons. But it would be nice to have a structure of, hey, I'd really like to hit this 1 o'clock panel and come back and see this show or do whatever. It also would have given the Rockafire Explosion a break because they had, even on Saturday, they had to do some maintenance on Saturday night because they were getting wore out. And these are 40-plus-year-old mechanisms, so it's definitely not something you want to be running that hard. But I do think a schedule and an actual full program would be really cool going forward, especially since they've gone from that 1 day show to a 3 day. They could get away with it with the 1 day. I think it was more obvious now with the 3 day that they needed a schedule.
3 days. I mean, you're looking at people who are there. If they arrive there, let's say at 4 p.m. on Friday and leave on Sunday at noon or something. Yep. I mean, they're there for 20 hours.
Yeah,
you got to have stuff to do.
A lot of time. It's a lot of time.
You just have to.
You really
easy
do.
Stuff to do.
And it's fun stuff that they will rave about and talk about and love. And it's not hard to put something like that together. It really isn't, especially with the passionate fans that Rockafire has, especially with the passionate employees that they have working there. I know this calendar night was put together by 2 employees. So, it's definitely something that they're capable of doing.
Agreed. No, 100%. I think they're on the right track. I almost feel like the owner needs to go to a Comic-Con. I know it sounds silly, but I think if you went to like maybe the Huntington show and just went and relaxed and saw what a cons run like, it'd be like, huh, oh, we could do a panel room like that. That's kind of cool. Or, oh my God, these are how vendors work. Oh, this is how this works. And see it and 100%. Just see if, take some tidbits from that and learn and, I think make a better experience for everyone.
Real local. So I definitely recommend them all going to that and seeing how that's run.
Agreed.
Well,
but, I guess,
that would be yeah, go ahead.
That I'm proud of you for stepping it up and having a good show. And you sold a ton of prints, a ton of art.
I did.
It was fun to see you get the recognition that you deserve because
thank you.
Work your butt off.
I don't think of it like that, but it was nice to feel that kind of love from fans.
Well, I do. So I appreciate you getting the recognition because it's a big deal. It makes you feel good. It gives you a little bit of that extra effort, a little bit of that extra oomph in your step for a little bit because this world is draining in many ways, and so having a very positive reinforcing weekend is never bad ever. So.
That's true. 100%. Yeah. I would say this weekend was definitely all of that. So I definitely feel reinvigorated. I'm enjoying editing these. I can't wait to put them out, and then I'm going to enjoy making more videos, and as always. It is definitely a really awesome experience, and definitely highly recommend. 10 out of 10 recommend BillyCon next year. Do it. Yes. But I think that's all we got for you this week, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that review of BillyCon. And you'll stick around next week for another invigorating Con Culture Con. Con Vulture. I can't even say the words. Con Vulture. I'm saying Vulture again.
Let me go ahead and take this for you. It's Con Culture Convo. Thank you guys for joining us at BillyCon. We had a fantastic weekend. And hopefully we'll see you again. Please give us a comment and tell us about your favorite thing that happened during the weekend. And let's chat. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Later.